Hello and welcome to this, the next in our series of videos on the SAP HANA Cloud platform for the young Rewired state. My name is Steve Lofthouse from Sheffield Hallam University, and in this particular video we're going to be interacting with the SAP HANA database. We're going to be connecting the database to Eclipse, creating some tables and uploading some sample data. We're going to need some tools to be doing that, so we're going to need access to our HANA trial account, account.hanatrial.ondemand.com. We're going to be using a website called mockaroo.com to generate some sample data, and we're going to be using our Eclipse platform. So let's get cracking. Okay, so first of all we need our HANA account, so we log in. I've already logged into our cockpit on our HANA Cloud platform, and we need to create an instance of our HANA appliance. So if we come down here to HANA instances, we can say new trial instance. We can give the instance a name, and I'm going to call it YRS, and then we can click Save. And at this point, the cloud software is going to create an instance of the HANA appliance for us. We can see that that's been done and everything's okay. So now we can go and connect the Eclipse software to this HANA Cloud instance. So if we come down and go to Eclipse, and now in order to do that, we need to be in the HANA perspective. Here we can see that we're in the Java EE perspective. And if you remember, a perspective is a way of laying out the screen. Well, we want the HANA perspective, so if we do Window and then Open Perspective, we can select from Other, and we can pick the HANA perspectives. Now, I'm going to use the HANA Administration Console in order to connect. So here we are in the HANA perspective. Now then, we're going to connect our cloud-based system. So if we come onto the left, we can add a system, and we're going to add a cloud system. Now, if you remember, when we set up Eclipse, we gave it lots of information about our HANA trial account, and it's pulled that information through. You may need to enter your password, but we can click Next, and then Eclipse will connect to the SAP HANA instance, and we can select our particular instance. If you were a commercial company, you may have more than one instance of the HANA system. You may have an instance for development and an instance for production. So we can select our instance and click Finish, and at that point Eclipse will connect to our HANA instance, and we can see there on the left hand side of the screen that we've connected, and it's pulled across various bits of information, so we can see our HANA database. Now inside the catalogue we can see the various schema that are already present in the database. And if you remember, the schema is a way of containing, compartmentalizing database objects. We're going to be interacting with the dev schema, so if we open that up, we can see we've got various folders for tables and views and indices, things like that. If we expand the tables folder, you can see that there are no tables in there because we've not created any yet. So the next thing we're going to do is create a table and upload some sample data. That's very easy, very straightforward to do. I'm going to cheat in some ways, and I'm going to use a website called Mockaroo, mockaroo.com. Mockaroo's a lovely little website that generates sample test data for us, so we can give our database fields some names, and we can select various types. Now, these are not types in the traditional sense. They're the types of information that Mockaroo is going to generate for us. So if I kind of click this IPv4 address, we can see that we can have, maybe we want an IPv6 address, maybe we want a job title or a last name or some money. It's various types of random data that Mockaroo will generate for us. Now I'm going to generate 100 rows or 50 rows of data because it's faster for me to upload it in this demonstration, but you may want to demonstrate, you may want to generate 1,000 rows of data. I'm going to select the SQL format. There are different formats that the data could come as, and we want it as SQL because we're interacting with the HANA database, and you interact with databases using SQL. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to let this website generate me a create table statement. And then I just click download the data. And at that point, Mockaroo will create me a little SQL file, and I can open this file in Notepad. So if we open this file in Notepad, and there you can see I've got my create table statement at the top, and then I've got insert statements to insert 50 rows of data. Okay, so I can select all that and copy it. So it's now on my clipboard. Okay, so if we go back to Eclipse, Now we want to create this table and insert this data, and we want that table to be created within the dev schema. So the first thing we're going to do is an SQL command to set the schema, an SQL command to tell HANA that all the subsequent SQL that we do, we want it to be applied to this dev schema. We want it to occur within here. So if we select the dev schema, you'll notice that the blue SQL button becomes available. So if we click that, we'll get the SQL console up. And it's in here that we can type the SQL that will interact with HANA. So our first command is going to be a set schema command to tell HANA that this is the schema we're going to use. Now I could type in dev_c2 blah 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 blah. I'd probably get it wrong. It's far easier just to click and drag that across and pop it in there, and then we can execute that little SQL command by clicking on the execute button in the right hand side. So if we click that, we can see that that's successfully executed. It tells us down at the bottom of the screen that that's successfully executed. So we've set the schema where we want things to occur. So the next thing we can do is actually run the SQL to create the table and insert the data. So if we just paste, because we put that on our clipboard, so we've got our insert statement there. That's going to insert 50 lines of data after it's created our table. So all we need to do now is run this. So if we click the execute button, and at that point it's going to run that statement and create the table and insert all the data. And we can see that that's done successfully. We've put 51 insert statements in there. So if I come over to the tables folder and right click and select refresh, you can see now that we now have our mock data table. If I double click on that, we'll get the table definition. And here you can see that the table's name, the schema, the type of table it is. It's a row table. And we can see the fields and data types within it. If I right click on mock data and select open data preview, it will select, HANA will normally select the top 200 rows of data whenever you do a data preview. I've only put 50 in it, so it's going to pull them all back. But you can see that the data's in there and it's been inserted. So there you go. That was creating a table and uploading some sample data into the HANA database.